Hi, I'm here with Arianna Huffington, the editor-in-chief of the Huffington Post, one of the biggest online newspapers, blog, definitely one of the most influential. I'd like to start with a quote President Obama made earlier this week. Obama said, and I quote, "I'm concerned that if the direction of the news is all blogosphere, all opinion, with no serious fact-checking, no serious attempts to put stories in context, that what you will end up with is getting people shouting at each other across the void, but not a lot of mutual understanding." Do you share that concern as well?
I think what Obama said is an incredibly naive statement, and it is not borne out by the facts. The world right now, in terms of media, is not about old media or new media. It's about yesterday's media or today's media, and today's media includes an online component. And is that what he means by the blogosphere? I mean, the Jerusalem Post has a vibrant online component, so does the New York Times and the Washington Post. It would be impossible to have a major newspaper without a vibrant blogospheric element to it. I actually believe that the blogosphere and all online media have a huge responsibility to do fact-checking, be accurate, be fair, but there's absolutely no reason why they're going to be less good at it than the mainstream media.
The advantages of citizen journalism are known. I mean, essentially we're talking about speed, immediacy, the fact that people have a major platform to express their opinion, the voice from the people. The problems of citizen journalism are mainly credibility, lack of professionalism, disguising news as opinion. How do you think, what's the way to tackle these problems, and do you think bloggers will eventually replace journalists?
I don't see it as this either-or positioning that has been set up. And in fact, I believe that the existence of online media can really facilitate the breaking of stories and the staying on stories, because we are in a way suffering from obsessive compulsive disorder, and the mainstream media are suffering from attention deficit disorder, and you need both to be able to really stay on a story. I mean, major stories are broken on the front pages of newspapers in the States and die there. We can keep the stories alive by staying on them until there is some real impact.
How significant do you think is the fact that there are growing signs of disappointment toward Obama coming from the American left? What do you think of Obama so far, of his performance?
At the Huffington Post, we really avoid looking at what's happening in American politics through the prism of right versus left, because we believe it's very obsolete and it obscures more than it reveals. So the opposition that Obama has faced is coming from many people, including many of us at the Huffington Post, who feel that he is not living up to some of the promises that he made, not the expectations, but the promises. If you look at healthcare, for example, he was the one who talked about a public option being part of the insurance exchange in order to limit costs and have really effective healthcare reform. If you take other issues like Guantanamo, like the detainees, how detainees treatment, I mean, obviously there's been a vast improvement since the Bush years, but it hasn't lived up to what he had promised. So it's really a question of looking at his leadership and what can be achieved if he really exercises his leadership rather than holding back, which is what he has done in many areas.
How far do you think Obama's supporters, Obama's voters, would allow him to go with regards to Iran, assuming Obama would be willing to, would move forward with sanctions and perhaps even military action?
The decisions that America makes when it comes to Iran need to be made in terms of the best interests of the United States. And clearly, right now, serious sanctions are what is on the table, and that, of course, makes sense when we look at the way Ahmadinejad is behaving, the absurd statements he's making, and of course the internal opposition within the country that is very significant and growing.
Thank you very much for coming to the Jerusalem Post and speaking to us.
Thank you.